Alright, hey guys, it's Keeping back with another video, and it's been a while, but today we're going to be going over kind of a showcase of the Hoya method for 4x4, and I'm also going to be talking about some stuff that I kind of wish I knew when I was first starting out cubing, or I wish I had somebody to tell me. But yeah, let's just get into it. So I'm going to start off with a showcase of Hoya. I don't really feel qualified to call this a walkthrough solve, but I'm going to kind of show you the method under the assumption that you already know how to solve a 4x4. If you don't and you're a beginner watching this, and this video is geared towards beginners, please go learn to watch through, you know, a JPerm tutorial or something like that. But yeah, I'm going to show you that. Actually, before I show you the solve, let's make a quick comparison. And by that I mean, let's compare Hoya to methods such as Yao and Redux, which are typically used for big cubes. So I switched to Hoya for 4x4. And I tried Yao when I was first starting out, and I really didn't like it, so I used Redux, and I used Redux for all the other big cubes. But like I said, I switched to Hoya for this. And there are some reasons why this method is not too popular. I would say because there are some arguments about the look ahead in Hoya, and I can definitely see that. But if you're good at look ahead and you're good at seeing, you know, what's in the back of the cube and on this and in this bottom part, you know, it's really quite the same. And if we're talking about move count, for bigger cubes, yes, Hoya is completely unreasonable for the extra moves it gives you, or makes you do. But for cubes such as 4x4 and 5x5, it's really not that big of a difference. And I want to say that with Redux, I was averaging probably high 50, and with Hoya, I average low 50. So yeah, I'm not super fast, but I do have a PB single 42, so take that for what you will. I'm not the fastest, but I'm also not super terrible. So yeah, and you know, you may be thinking, I never see top solvers using this. And that's true, you know, but they also have no reason to switch to it if they're already so used to the other method. For example, I'm going to butcher this name, but Julie Sebastian is a top solver in France who uses Hoya, for example. So you can get very fast with Hoya, it's just something that's not super popular. I believe she has a sub 30 average, definitely some sub 30 singles, but I could be wrong about the average with Hoya. So yeah, let's get into the actual kind of walkthrough solve. Alright, so I don't have a scramble. I'm just going to be, oops, I'm sorry, I moved the whole camera there. I'm just going to be hand scrambling this, and yeah. So Hoya is quite different in that first you have to solve two opposite centers, and then you kind of solve a bottom center, right? So usually that will be white or yellow. So you solve two opposite centers, like I have blue and green here. And if you know the color scheme, when white's on the left, it goes blue, orange, green, red, right? So there are two ways to kind of go about this. You could do orange in the front here and then rotate, or you could just solve red into the back. Now I already have three red pieces solved there, so what I'm going to do is just solve red into the back, and that's that. Then you'll notice that we still have these left unsolved. And we are going to take advantage of this by not solving these and doing the edges instead. And what I mean by that is we're going to do our cross edges. So we actually already have one solved for us here, but let's say, for example, I decided to do blue. The way you do these is kind of like you're inserting beginner method corners. So here we have this, and it needs to go down here to match up with that. And that's quite simple. You would just insert it with some wide moves somewhere. You have to insert wide moves somewhere and match it up where it needs to go. Then we have green, so we can put one of the edges down there. And actually that was not so efficient. I should have left it like this, put the green that was in the back here, and done that to put it over here for us. And we can just insert it. And now we have to do something here to solve the last two centers, which is where we move the piece out of the way like this and bring it down, or we can mirror that to the other side, and then we solve the last two centers and undo those setup moves, and then we have our cross solved. And so from here, it's really quite simple. We just go about it in the way that you would, you know, solve any other 4x4, which I'm not super fast at, but Oops. As such. So, the only real difference is the first 4 centers are quite different, and you do have to think a little bit more about the color scheme than you normally do. But then you do the cross edges, and like I said, I know, like, okay, so people talk about the look ahead, but you'll see that I noticed that green edge back there last time, so if you're good at that, then it's really not a problem. But yeah, so, and the move count for 4x4 is basically the same as Yao or Redux. However, because of the way you insert edges, the move count is significantly raised in something like 7x7, whereas 5x5 it's really not too bad if you're efficient and good at look ahead. So yeah, that's pretty much a walkthrough of the Hoya method. So I guess the reason I'm doing this is to show you that I switched to this method because I found it to be more fun than any of the other methods that we typically use. So when I was first starting out, I saw a JPerm video on, you know, Yao, Hoya, and Redux, like a comparison video, and he said that, you know, all the top cubers, all the, you know, world record holders and whatnot were using Yao for 4x4 or sometimes 5x5 and Redux for all the other big cubes. So I thought to myself, well, hey, I should probably be doing what they're doing, right? But it was always super boring for me for 4x4 especially. I really hated Yao. I won't say I hated it. I really did not like Yao, and Redux was just kind of boring. I don't know. I like it for 5x5, but I just never had fun practicing 4x4 until I revisited Hoya, which you basically see no top cubers using, unlike Juliet, as I said earlier. But yeah, I switched to it because I thought it was more fun, which is if you're a new cuber and you're trying to decide what method you should be using for anything, I'm talking about any cube, you should be doing the one that you think is most fun, right? Let's take example for square one. Most people use Vandenberg. I use Lin because I think it's more fun than just memorizing endless algorithms, and yeah, I like Lin better, so I use it. And for something like clock, there are a ton of methods that have, you know, kind of gained popularity recently. You know, there's 7 simul, there's no flip, there's just flip. I do know how to do no flip, but I just kind of prefer flip, and I use it because I think and I know that I can do the best with it, right? So that's just what I do, right? You should be choosing what you think is the most fun, and don't be pressured into doing what you think may be the best because other people are kind of doing that, you know? I definitely was, you know, didn't even consider Hoya at the time when I was first starting out because nobody was using it at the top that I knew of. So yeah, that's kind of my point I'm trying to make here. One last thing, you know, even with something like Pyraminx, I use beginner's method and I have sub 10 averages, and I've made it to finals in competitions with beginner's method. So yeah, point I'm trying to make is choose the method you think is most fun, that you enjoy, and yeah, if you like Rue and you want to use Rue, go ahead. If you like ZZ, I'm gonna judge you, but go ahead and use ZZ. And yeah, if you like CFOP, use CFOP. If you like Yao, use Yao, you know. But Hoya is what's fun for me, so I use it. And yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all later. Bye.